Hi there, this is Scott, and you are watching this video that I'm recording for you today all about energetic integrity. This is a topic of conversation that I have a lot with clients. Um, Very different than having integrity, which, if you're watching this video, you probably have a lot of integrity, personal integrity, we call that. Energetic integrity, though, is a completely different thing, and quite often it's the cause of a lot of stress, a lot of trauma, a lot of unintended consequences or unintended results in our lives. It's like, wow, it's the thing that when you go to talk to somebody and it gets all like your words get messed up and they misunderstand you, and then what you thought was just going to be a simple conversation ends up turning into something like blown completely up, and it's like this is this is the video to watch if that ever happens to you, where you're just like, how in the heck did I get so entangled? That's my word for it. How did I get so entangled with this other person? There's a lot of that happening on the planet right now in 2021, and it's been going on for a long time. So no matter when you're watching this video, you'll probably get a lot out of this. So I'm going to keep it fairly short and simple, and by the end of this video, you're going to have a simple tool and technique that you can practice that can help you stay in energetic integrity and not get unintentionally entangled with other people. Okay, so let's get going. So, humans interact with each other in many, many ways. We communicate. I'm speaking verbally to you now. You're listening. There's visual cues and visual stimulus. There's felt sense of of the energy or the vibration of other people. So there's a lot of ways that we connect with people. And the three main ways that we connect with others energetically is through what are called the three primary energy centers. So the three primary energy centers of the body are the psychic energy center. This is how we interact with others when we're in sort of like a heightened state of discussion. There'll be an exchange that's back and forth between like my psychic energy and your psychic energy. So if you get really deep into a conversation, you'll see this like when people lean forward, they sort of lean forward and they want to connect with this energy. So this is the first energy center. This energy center is the center of our psychic intuition. So if we're picking up on something psychically, or we're picking up on something mentally, this is the energy center. This is also, if there's a distortion in this energy center, energy can come out of this the forehead, like in a beam of light or a beam of energy. This is when someone is experiencing road rage. Like that energy just blasts out of someone's forehead. If someone is walking around sort of on a power trip, like they're, this happened to me once with a manager that got promoted, and she walked around for like a month after she got promoted, like making sure everybody was doing what they were supposed to do while she was working because she didn't want to get in trouble. It's like a noble thing. She wanted to prove herself in the company and wanted to do a good job, but she came at it with her psychic. I remember one time I was standing at a cash register and I could feel something like hitting behind me. I was just like, what is that? I turned around and she was glaring down the stretch of cash registers. And I was just like, oh my God, like I could feel it. In fact, actually, the reason I wear glasses is because someone's psychic energy came out and attacked me when I was in third grade, and it caused my psychic energy to push back inside my psychic energies. It reversed that in my body. I was in third grade, so I was old enough to know, I was like, what, 10 or something? I was old enough to know, that's not quite right, I was 8 or 9. And I was old enough to know, like, I mean, I'd been going to school for a couple years. I remember that teacher in third grade really well, and I was totally fine, could see the chalkboard and see her and the other kids and everything just fine. And it was a Sunday night when this happened, and Monday morning I woke up and I thought something was off when I was going to school. Like I was just sort of like, something seems weird. And then it was when I got to class and I was sitting there and she was writing something up on the chalkboard. I couldn't read what she was writing, and I was just like, that's weird. And I went for about a week without saying anything to anybody, and finally told my mom, like, I can't, like, something's wrong. I can't see the chalkboard like I used to. And so she took me to the eye doctor, and the eye doctor who gave me the exam, I remember it because it was the first time I'd ever been in an eye doctor place. Like, well, my sisters were younger than me, but they didn't need glasses or anything, I don't think, by that point. And I just remember, like, because it was a different experience, so I sort of remember it. And I remember him saying, "All right, Scott, you can go back out in the waiting room, wait with your mom." This is when the exam was all done. And I went back out, and he called her back, and he was like, "Why is Scott not in glasses already?" And she was like, "I don't know. He's never said anything about it." And he said, like, he really needs glasses. Like, we're going to get him in glasses right away and blah, blah, blah. And as soon as I put him on, when I first got him, I was like, oh my gosh, I could see like I could see again. But it took me decades before I realized, oh my gosh, that was what the psychic energy came out. So when we get entangled in arguments, road rage, when we're going to prove the other person right, or what we're going to prove them wrong. I'm sorry, we're going to prove ourselves right to the other person, or we're going to prove them wrong. That's this psychic entanglement. It's like two deer antlers that just get locked, and we can just experience all sorts of negative consequences from this. I mean, the fights that break out, the riots, the arguments, the disagreements, all the things that we see. Actually, I don't really watch the news myself, but all the things you would see if you watched the news, or if you watched, or were in any sort of urban center for any length of time, you may see some altercation. If you're driving in traffic, you'll see road rage. I mean, we all see some things like that. That's the psychic energy center that gets entangled. The second main way that we interact with other people is through the heart energy center. So this is when we have a heart-to-heart with someone, or there's a strong love connection. When this is the center of empathic knowing. So like when someone tells us how they're feeling, whether that be good or bad, we can feel that. Like, we know what that feels like. So this is the center of our empathic knowing. We feel it in our hearts. That's why when you watch like a Hallmark commercial or something, and I start tearing up. I'm like, oh my God, I know what they're feeling, what they're going through. It's so sweet, or whatever. So we feel it in our hearts. Same thing is true with the heart energy center. It can get entangled with other people's energy centers. And if there's a distortion either in us or the other person, just like in the psychic energy center, the heart energy center kind of does the same thing. It can get tangled up with other people's heart energies. So this is when someone tries to smother you with their love. They give you gift and gift and gift. I have had exes, who were like always giving me something, or telling me like constantly that they loved me, or that they couldn't live without me, or blah, blah, blah. And this is the heart energy that comes out at you when that happens. Overgiving is an example of that. The opposite can happen, though, with distortions in the heart, is that people can actually withhold or retract their love when that's really painful to experience. If you've ever been broken up, like someone's, you're in a relationship, breaks up with you, or if there is like someone fires you from a job, sort of unexpectedly, a job maybe that you really loved or liked, we can experience the loss. It's like the ripping away of that love energy, that love connection and support. This is why parents who tell their kids they love them, but then they do something else that sort of shows or proves otherwise, kids will feel it in their hearts. It's like it's like the grids are actually being torn there in the heart. So again, not really good to have like either your psychic or your heart energy entangled with other people's. It doesn't mean you can't experience love or be in love, but you don't want to have that heart energy all wrapped up and entangled with the other person's energy. You don't want your psychic energy all wrapped up and entangled with somebody else's psychic energy. And then the third way it's one of the main ways that we interact with others The energy center is the low belly, so it's just a little bit below the belly button. And this is the sexual creative energy center. So this is the area of our bodies that when we're highly creative or doing something that's highly creative, this is the energy center that we're working with. Obviously, it's below the belly button, so it's sort of the sex energy center of the body as well, which is also creative energy. And this creative energy can get entangled with others. People who are good at using this energy center to entangle others are very good at things like seduction. So they'll use sex to seduce, which, I mean, could be good in certain advertisements, but not when you go to like James Bond has sort of a distortion in that energy center. Someone who's sort of a greasy salesman of some kind, who tries to butter up the person that they're talking to and tell them why they can't live without it and blah, 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 blah. That's that swarmy sort of sexual creative energy. Again, sits a couple inches below the belly button. Distortions, seduction is a distortion with this energy center. Not being able to work or play well with others, like somebody who always seems to be getting into some sort of conflict when they're in a group setting. This could be a distortion in this energy center. Somebody who is very disconnected from their purpose, because we use our creative gifts with our purpose in conjunction to like express our purpose out in the world. If there's a distortion there, they may not feel like they're on any sort of like, they're not really connected to anything. I had a good friend who was disconnected from her purpose for a long time and had a lot of like cramping and issues, and a lot of like female issues down there. It could be male issues too. Men can get this as well. I'm just speaking to one example here. So, and just sort of had a dissatisfaction in life for a while, and there was like this distortion that was there. They didn't date anybody for a really long time. And so until that distortion cleared, then all of a sudden they were able to start working in bigger environments. They attracted a romantic partner. They were able to sort of open up their creativity a lot more. So we don't want to get that energy entangled. Like, we don't want someone to seduce us into doing something we don't want to do, right? And we don't want to inadvertently be doing any of these things to other people either. This is the importance of this video, is so that you can become aware of, like, wow, I really am overgiving a lot. Or, oh, wow, when I get into an argument with somebody, I do sort of notice that my energy comes from up here, and I sort of am shooting daggers at them. We even have language for this. Shooting daggers at somebody is the glare, is the stare with that energy. So we want to be aware of when we're doing this ourselves. And we also want to protect ourselves and disentangle from other people who maybe are doing any one of these things to us. So here's where this tool and technique is going to come in that I think you're going to get a lot out of. So what I want you to do is close your eyes for just a moment. I'll still be here on the video. Just close your eyes for a moment. And what I want you to do is I want you to let an image sort of pop into your mind's eye. Just sort of let a picture or a shape or an object or an image just pop out sort of right in front of you. And it doesn't matter if you see it really clearly or if you just sort of slightly see it, or if you see it and then it goes away. Just let an image pop into your mind. Just let a picture or an image pop in. And if you need to pause the video to sit and sort of perceive it for a little bit, that's totally fine. You can do that. But when you're feeling like you've got sort of a clear image in your head of, again, it could be anything under the sun or the sun itself, just let this picture pop into your mind. When you feel like you have it, what I want you to do is put it about a foot out in front of you and then 2 feet up in the air. So this picture or the image, you want to place that image, again, about 1 foot out in front of you, so just a little ways out in front, and then twice as far up in the air, about 2 feet up in the air. And just leave the image there. Don't move it around. Just leave it up there in front of you, just slightly out in front and up in front of you. And then with your imagination, draw a line of energy, or imagine a line of energy that comes out of your forehead and travels up to that picture or image, and have that line of energy connect directly to that image or picture. So it's like you send a beam of light or a thread of light or beam of energy, whatever languaging you want to use for that. But you want to draw a line of energy with your imagination up to that picture or that symbol, that image. And then you want to do the same thing with your heart. So right in the center of your chest, just imagine a line of energy coming out from your chest and going straight up to that symbol, that picture or that image, whatever you are imagining. I'm just waiting for that energy to shift there, and it just did. So now you'll have, at this moment, you have two lines of energy, one from your forehead, one from your heart up to your picture. And then from the low belly, so just a little bit below your belly button, do the same thing. Draw just a simple line of energy or a beam of light from your low belly up to that picture or that image. There, and then just for a moment, imagine all three lines of energy at the same time. Forehead, heart, and low belly all being connected up to that picture or that image. And just hold that connection for a moment. You may be hearing me take a couple deep breaths as I've been explaining this. You may also have some deep breaths that occur every so often. That's normal. That's as energy shifts, it will show up in the body some way, so it's just energy moving. And again, just keep imagining those three lines of energy there. And then what I want you to practice is I want you to practice opening your eyes and still feeling like, oh, I can still feel or see those lines of energy connected up to that picture. So you can open your eyes, but it's like, oh yeah, I can still sort of sense the lines of energy connected up to that picture or that image. So when you practice this little technique, there's a few things that are happening. The first thing is you are disentangling through choice to connect in a different way. You're disentangling from other people's energies. You're disentangling your psychic energy, you're disentangling your heart energy, and you're disentangling your creative energy from others around you. And you're redirecting it up to a picture or image in which that picture or image will hold those energies. And it's in this way that we are practicing what's called energetic integrity. The root word of integrity is to integrate, and what we're integrating is our consciousness. That's the part of us that is aware now, after watching this video, that we have energy at our psychic energy center out of our forehead, energy at our heart energy center, which is the heart energy, and energy out of our low belly, which is creative energy. So we're now aware of that, but now we're choosing to do something specific as opposed to any of those energies just sort of flapping out like a flag in the wind. We want to be able to disconnect those entanglements and connect it up into this picture, and the picture is something you got to pick. And it's in that way that you're practicing your energy and your consciousness being integrated, i.e., energetic integrity. It means you know what your energy is doing at all times, and that it's not down and connected and doing something that you're not aware of out in the world around you. Energetic integrity. You can have all sorts of personal integrity in the world and be completely out of energetic integrity, although that doesn't happen a whole lot. You want to make sure that you're practicing this. Now, I recommend practicing this simple technique, and it should only take 5 or 10 seconds to do. I recommend practicing it a few times a day. Just it could be briefly if you're standing in line at the grocery store, or I like to do it first thing when I wake up in the morning. I connect my energy centers up to my picture, and when I put my feet on the floor, I know that I'm not going to start the day being entangled with anybody else's energy around me. My roommate, my neighbors, if I have to go run errands in the morning or something, I don't want to be entangled with other people's energy. So practicing it first thing in the morning is a really good thing. Practicing it if you feel like there's an argument or a disagreement that's coming on with somebody, just calmly stop. And you can do this with your eyes open, although I do find it helps to do it with your eyes closed, at least while you get going. You just connect up your lines of energy to that picture, and you will feel a palpable difference. You may have even felt a difference when we practiced it just a few minutes ago. You'll feel a difference. You'll feel the other person sort of relax. They're like, oh, I can't like get into battle with you like I normally would, or like we can do sometimes. And all of a sudden, the other person will they'll keep their own energy in check while you're keeping your energy in check. And it's in this way that we can have better conversations with people around us. We can have more of a heart-to-heart conversation where I'm sharing my feelings, you're sharing your feelings, and now we understand each other, as opposed to the heart energies trying to do battle. And we can collaborate with other people without some sort of sexual or creative distortion coming in and sort of blowing up whatever it is that you want to collaborate with somebody on. So, practice this technique. Under this post, please leave your feedback and comments. You can talk about if you notice something right away when we practiced it a few minutes ago. One thing to notice is when you practice this, the energy around you will get quiet. And children and animals, those two groups, children and animals, love when you're in energetic integrity. If you have or are around a screaming toddler or a fuming adolescent, or any animal that seems like really scared to be around either you or people in general, or an animal who's like will run away when you get too close, practice this. Those would be times people, animals, and children. People will respond differently when you practice, and you'll notice it creates this beautiful, quiet energy around you where it's just like, oh, this feels so much clearer, better, different. It's really, it'll be a noticeable thing. So share your feedback about what you noticed watching the video initially. And then once you've practiced it for a week, come back to this post and add in some other comments like, oh my gosh, I just practiced this with my grandmother and we had the best conversation, or I just practiced this with my boss and something came to light that was sort of a misunderstanding that we had before, and now it's better. Like, now stuff will happen, beautiful stuff will happen when you disentangle that energy from other people's energy, and you'll end up finding you're in a much better place with other people. You can sort of move through the world with more grace and ease. So I hope you got a lot out of this video. Please ask questions if you have any questions, and hope to talk to you soon. All right, thanks. Bye.